During the time that you were on this case, did Ms. Smith ever come to you requesting that she be able to drug test?
Yes.
Can you elaborate about when that was?
I don't remember.
Can you elaborate how many times you think?
I would say just a couple of times.
Did you allow her to go drug test?
She's been active in EverHealth for a long time, so she can just go whenever she wants to.
I'm confused. You're saying at Avers Health, if you wanted a drug test, you just go into Avers Health and they'll give you a drug test, whether you're required to or not?
She can call and see if she has to drug test. She's cleared for random drug testing.
So just to clarify then, if she's on random drug testing, you can only test at Avers Health if the computer system tells you to go drug test that day, correct?
Yes.
So if she wanted to test when she wanted to test, you had to manually enter that.
Yes.
When she requested those drug tests, did you do that for her?
I believe I just told her to just go.
Okay, so you didn't do it for her?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did she tell you why she wanted to get a manual drug test?
No, I don't.
Do you remember if she said that she wanted a manual drug test because she missed the prior drug test and wanted to prove to you that she's clean?
I don't remember when that was.
You said you don't remember when that was. That actually occurred?
I don't know.
Okay, it's fine if you don't remember. I just need to get clarified.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay, I'm fine with that answer if you don't remember. But just to clarify though, that when she came to you asking to have a manual drug test, you didn't do it though?
I can't say.
Okay. Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Thank you, Ms. Copeland.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm sorry, Ms. Copeland, did you have a question?
Yeah, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Redirect.
Your Honor, I don't have any redirect. I'm fine.
Okay, she'd be excused.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dyer, appreciate your testimony today. Have a good afternoon, you're excused. Do you have the exhibits?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Let me see. I have two witnesses waiting and I know we only have
Okay.
11:45. We can send it to you. And then you can have your witness stand.
Good morning, sir. You want to come on up here, please? Remain standing. We'll have you sworn in before you take a seat. Sir, please raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Great, thank you. Please have a seat. You could please state your name and spell it for the record.
All right. My name is Michael Glasgow, MICHAEL,
I'm getting I'll have to look at my emails because I have an email of when my buddy would be available for a call, and see what time those are. I noticed that he sent me an email, or his secretary sent me an email.
The Nixie guys?
Huh?
The Nixie guys?
The who?
Nix, something?
Nick. Yeah, Nick Simonetta.
Okay.
So he's my direct contact to the head of the Senate, and I can only do what I can do timing wise.
I know, and I'm not pushing anything. I'm just hoping for a fucking miracle or fucking something. I want my kid. I want my fucking kid. I want my kid. I want my kid.
I know. Well, let me see what his schedule has to do, and I'm still working on your letter, and then.
Do they
Okay.
have any actual, like, is there, like, any, you don't have to tell me specifics, but just, is there anything that talking to those people or doing things or whatever can do? Like, does it matter?
I don't know, though. I don't know. I need to go back through, and there's somebody that I would want to talk to, but I need to find an email, and I don't know if I can.
Okay.
I'll go back through and look through archives and stuff, but you got to remember, I don't have a place that I can set up shop and do all these things.
I know, I'm not rushing you, dude. I'm American.
Bear with me for a little while. I'll see what I can do today.
Did you hear me? I said I'm not Russian, I'm American. Ha 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 ha.
She wasn't arrested then?
I do not know the results of her being arrested or not. I was there with law enforcement.
Did you like leave before the conclusion of the whole police activity?
Yes, I did,
Well, why did you leave?
because we still need to file the proper paperwork on our end.
So to this day, you don't know whether she was arrested?
I do not know.
Did you ever disclose those police reports?
I don't recall if I did or not.
Are you trained in field sobriety tests to determine whether anybody's impaired?
Not for alcohol.
Okay, so you don't know whether you don't have the training to determine whether she was intoxicated that day?
Law enforcement was there and they explained that her behavior was escalating.
Okay, but they didn't say anything, the word intoxicated? She was just
I don't-
escalating?
I don't recall.
So what type of removal was this? Was this a ex parte removal or was it an emergency removal?
I believe it was an exigent removal.
Okay, what was the exigent circumstance?
At that time that the mother is unable to parent at this time.
Because the event that transpired on September 1st?
That issue, and there was also concern that the maternal grandparents were gonna have the child reside in the home while the mother went to rehab.
What was the problem with that?
They were unable to pass background checks.
Is that why they're not like placement right now?
Yes.
So just so I'm clear, DCS's plan was gonna have an in-home and iridescent was gonna live with the grandparents, but the grandparents didn't pass background check.
The mother was residing in that home.
Okay, but it was, so if the mother was in there, it wouldn't have been an issue with the background check?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, just the court order you to go over that.
Sorry.
And just to be clear, it was the maternal grandparents are the ones that called you about the incident on September 1st?
Yes.
Give a moment. Anything else you want me to hammer on? So, I have a question. I might have misheard you, but I think when you were testifying for the Attorney General, if I understood you correctly, when you were out at the mother's house, there was some male individual that you interviewed?
There was two people who were
There's two other people at your house that day.
There was no investigator that took designated doctor. So.
Oh, you mean that day?
Yeah, she was there.
Oh. I didn't understand. When you reported out that day, did you have another DCS investigator with you?
I did.
Okay. And did you guys interview Iridescent?
I interviewed Iridescent.
And how old was Iridescent then?
I don't recall how she was.
Did you interview Iridescent?
Oh, I'm sorry. I believe he interviewed Iridescent.
Okay, so you were not part of the interview with Iridescent.
No, I was not. I apologize.
Did he share with you the information that you obtained from the interview with Iridescent?
I believe he did, but I don't recall at this time.
So you have no clue what Iridescent said?
It's probably in the case notes, but I don't recall at this time.
You think it's in the court report?
No, I said in the case notes,
Okay.
but I don't.
To your knowledge, did you put anything in the court report about iridescent, was it like how her mother was caring for her?
Not that I saw.
So part of your court report is that you write in the initial recommended services, is that right?
Yes.
What were the initial recommended services that you wanted my client to do?
Do you mind if I look?
If you don't remember,
Probably engage in the AFF for Arizona's Family First, random drug testing. Those are the top of my head that I can remember right now.
and just to be clear, you don't start the random drug testing on ongoing case manager does.
I started the initial one, and then after that, ongoing continuous process.
Okay. Did you talk to her about how to start those initial recommended services?
Those are discussed with ongoing, I believe.
So you didn't talk to her about it then?
No, I don't believe so.
Did you tell her when the preliminary protective hearing was set, the court report, or I should say the first court hearing?
I don't recall.
Routinely, procedurally, how do you transmit to the parents when the court hearing is set, the first one, the preliminary protective hearing?
Routinely, I let them know when it's gonna be.
You like call them up or?
Different processes, sometimes call, sometimes text, depending if they respond or not. Sometimes I leave a notice at the door as well.
Okay. In this particular case, when you were an investigator, did you have any issues trying to get a hold of my client?
Not that I recall.
To your knowledge, did her phone number change at any time when you had the case?
When I had the case, no.
Okay. Do you believe that you told her when her preliminary protective hearing court was set?
I believe.
Okay. You're not entirely sure, but you believe you did?
I believe I did.
But you don't specifically remember doing it?
No, because this case was from 2 years ago.
Okay, that's fair. I just have to know like what you're certain about and what you're not certain about, okay?
Okay.
All right, Judge, I had no questions, I pass it.
No, thank you.
Check your redirect.
Very briefly, Mr. Dancourt, you said that initially you asked the mother to do a drug screen. Was that just a urine test, or did you also request a hair follicle test?
We do both urine and hair follicle.
Do you remember requesting both?
Yes.
Did mother do a hair follicle test?
Yes.
Do you know what the results of those were, or do you recall?
At that time, I don't believe that we had gotten the hair follicle, just the urine.
Oh, so you don't recall having received them back?
No.
Thank you. I don't believe I have any other questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Just a couple of clarifying questions from the court. Ms. Betancourt indicated that the mother was going to live with the maternal grandparents?
I believe the maternal grandparents,
And
James, last name James.
okay, and the maternal grandparents did not pass background check?
They did not pass background check.
I'm looking at page 4 of Exhibit 1, Section D. That second paragraph there, it references that the child would reside with the paternal grandparents. Also later on, it also says that there was no legal documentation.
Your Honor, at this time I move for the admission of the PPH report dated September 9th, 2020.
Any objection to petitioner's 1?
No.
There being no objection, petitioner's 1 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And, Your Honor, I don't have any further questions of this witness. I will pass the witness.
Then we're going to see if the other attorneys have questions for you. Ms. Gables, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Getler?
I have some questions, Your Honor, thank you. So you indicated that that the mother called you back and you made an appointment to go see her at her house, is that correct?
That is correct.
and you don't remember the date, you went to the house, but she wasn't home? Somebody else was there initially, or am I?
No, when I made the response time, I went to the home and nobody was present at that time. And then I usually received my business card and she returned my call and we set up an appointment.
Okay, so when you made the appointment, she was available on the day you made the appointment?
Yes,
And you went into her home and was able to observe it?
yes,
Was iridescent home then?
she was not.
And you indicated that one of the concerns was a messy house, but you didn't see that, is that correct?
That is correct.
Was your impression at the time that a messy house is not an issue in this case?
It was not an issue at that time.
And you said that the other concern was substance use, is that correct?
That is correct.
I look at your court report, and it mentions an individual by the name of, give me a second. I believe his name is Michael Hale. Does that seem familiar?
Yes.
Who's Michael Hale?
Michael Hale he was part of the guardianship from California. He was part of the guardianship from Virginia and Reed Floco and he was part of that.
But that guardianship ended in November of 2020, is that correct?
I'm not sure when that guardianship ended.
Was the guardianship still active when you were doing your investigation?
The guardianship was terminated by the mother. It wasn't a legal guardianship.
Okay, so there wasn't a guardianship when you were doing your investigation, correct?
It was set up by it was not a court guardianship.
Okay. I'm looking at, do you have your court report still in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at bottom of page 1, that first paragraph where it starts with Michael Hale, who resides in California. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then below that, onto page 2, you start talking about concerns for the mother. Did all that information that come from Michael Hale?
That was listed in the initial report.
Okay, so like where it says like the concerns of neglect to iridescent by mother resulting from chemical dependence and mental health issues, did that information come from Michael Hale?
That was the report that the department received at that time.
Mr. Gatlin, just clarification, I'm hearing you say Hale as in H-E-L-E.
Oh, Hake. Is it Hake? Oh, I'm sorry. Hake, H-A-K-E. So
Okay.
when I was saying Hale, I meant Hake.
Okay, thank you, my apologies, go ahead, Mr. Gatlin.
You know, I just wanted to just object to the repeated question of who made of whether a certain person made the initial allegations. So certain DCS is not allowed to reveal the identity of the reporting.
Mr. Michael Hake is identified in the court report. I'm simply asking whether he's the one that provided information. If there was somebody else that provided it, I think it would be appropriate that that information is not shared.
The objections overruled, Mr. Hake is noted in the court report.
So I'm not sure if I got an answer. Did those allegations of substance use and alcohol use in a dirty house, did those come from Michael Hake?
Yes.
Okay. And without revealing any other names or anything, did DCS receive any reports from other individuals?
No.
So when you went to my client's house, did you see any indications of substance abuse or use?
I did not observe any paraphernalia in the home. The only disclosure was that mother had a drink before DCS arrived.
And she self-disclosed that, correct?
Yes, she did.
Did she appear to be impaired?
No,
And iridescent wasn't home at that time?
she was not.
Did she self-report her past mental health issues?
Yes, she did.
Do you remember whether she indicated to you whether she got treatment for those?
I do not recall.
Did she report to you whether she was taking any type of mental health medication?
I do not recall.
Did she admit to you that she's got a drinking problem?
No.
Did she deny it?
No.
When confronted with whether she has a drinking problem, to your knowledge, she did not deny that?
She did not disclose to having a drinking problem.
Okay. Did you ask her if she had a drinking problem?
I do not recall.
You mentioned a prior DCS case in California. Did you discover that before you went out and talked to my client?
No, we usually request records and it does take some time since it's out of state.
Did she self-disclose to you that she had a record in California
She
with
did.
the DCS equivalent? Did she indicate to you that she had a past substance abuse issue?
She did.
Did she indicate to you that she went to rehab for that?
She did.
And you said before that she told you that her last usage was in early of 2020. Did I hear you correctly?
That is correct.
Did she indicate to you what that substance was?
She said that she had history with methamphetamine and alcohol.
Was it your impression that she meant the last time she used was in like meth in the beginning of 2020? Is that your belief?
That is my belief.
Did she use those words? That the last time I used meth was in 2020, early 2020?
I do not recall.
That's just your interpretation.
Sure.
Oh, what specifically did my client tell you in regards to her mental health? Are you referring to your court report?
Can I?
Well, first, just tell me if you remember.
I do not.
Okay, if looking at your court report, would that refresh your recollection?
Yes, it-
Go ahead, you can tell me, if you find anything, tell me what page you're on.
Page 2. In Part B, but has been inconsistent with her medication for bipolar disorder.
So she indicated to you that she's got a bipolar disorder then?
Yes.
Anything else?
Not that I recall.
There was some mention in a court report about domestic violence occurring in the home. Where did that information come from?
That came from the report that was called into the department.
Is that the one from Michael Hake then?
From the reporting source.
Okay. Did you, through your investigation, find any evidence of domestic violence?
She disclosed that there is no domestic violence present. She disclosed that the individual is no longer residing in the home.
Okay, so there was, did she identify who this individual was?
Yes, her boyfriend, Jimmy. I do not recall his last name.
And to your knowledge, that relationship was terminated?
According to the mother, yes.
So at the end of your investigation, no concerns with regards to domestic violence then?
No, I did not have any concerns.
So you mentioned that DCS was considering an in-home. Did I hear you correctly?
In-home services, yes.
What was that going to look like?
It's the least restrictive plan that the department offers to allow the family to engage in services.
When you say in-home, it was just going to be her and iridescent in the home?
No, she was getting evicted from her apartment, so she was gonna move in with the grandparents.
The maternal grandparents?
I believe is that.
Okay. So the in-home was going to, have the maternal grandparents as like responsible adults? Was that the plan?
I do not recall what that plan was.
Did the department ask my client to drug test?
Yes,
Where did they ask her to drug test?
at PSI.
And did she drug test?
Yes, she did.
What was the result of the drug test?
The results were that she was positive for alcohol.
Was there any discussion with her as to why that was a positive test?
No, because she had already disclosed to me that she was positive for alcohol.
And was that drug test done the same day that you went out and talked to her?
I believe.
Okay, so not surprisingly, if she told you that she drank that day, that she would test positive then?
Yes.
All right. Was there any additional drug tests set up after that, or was it just one initial drug test?
I set up the initial drug test. Anything after that would have to be with ongoing.
Okay. So, just if I understand you right, she told you that she drank that day, she didn't know you were coming, or, like, she had a drink. She said she drank one alcoholic drink, or what, do you remember what she said?
I do not recall.
All right, and then you set her up to go drug test that same day.
I'm
You
sorry,
don't-
is that a yes?
Yes,
So knowing that she was going to test positive,
yes.
so what, does that positive make you think that she's got a drinking problem?
She disclosed that having one drink, it's not my expertise to see if she has a drinking problem.
Okay, so, okay, that's good enough. So, give me a moment, I need for your court report, where this was at.
Passed.
Yes.
What is your recommendation in terms of permanency for Desi?
For her to be adopted.
And what would be the benefit, for Desi if parental rights of Mr. Coleman and the mother and any unknown father were to be severed?
Just the permanency that she deserved, safe and stable environment.
And since Mr. Coleman is the alleged father, but he's not the legal, paternity hasn't been established, did any other man come forward claiming to be the father of this child?
No.
If for some reason, this kinship family in California were not able to adopt Desi, is she otherwise an adoptable child?
She is.
Has she resided in Pima County, or did she reside in Pima County when the severance motion was filed?
Yes.
And do you know whether Desi is an Indian child?
No, she's not.
I don't know if I asked you, does Desi have any special needs?
No.
Okay, thank you. What would be the detriment to Desi if the parental rights of her mother were to remain in place?
Desi will continue to linger in the foster care system without any safe and stable environment.
And what about, parental rights of Mr. Coleman or any unknown father?
It would be the same thing, it's just continue, to linger in foster care. No one hasn't come forward to, show that, they could put their own needs for Desi, so.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions of Ms. Steiner. I'll pass it over to Ms. Yunifer.
Ms. Steiner, I'm gonna see if the other attorneys have questions for you. Ms. Gallegos.
Thank you. You testified that you've been the case manager since about April of 2022?
Yes.
And as part of your duties, do you develop case plans?
Yes.
How often are case plans developed?
6 months.
And when case plans are developed, is it typical that this information would be included in the court report?
Yes.
During your time as a case manager, did you develop a new case plan for the mother?
Yes, I did.
And if you did, would you have included that in your court report?
Yes.
Did you have any case plan staffings with the mother?
I would say us meeting in person, I wouldn't say this case plan staffing, but I do go over the case plan with her, so yes.
How many times would you say?
During my time, met with her, I would say maybe 5 times.
And would these meetings be reflected in your court reports?
Yes.
Are in-person meetings with a parent, whether they are successful or missed, included in court reports?
Yes, it should be.
Are any phone calls with a parent, whether successful or attempted, be included in your court reports?
Yes, they should be.
How would you maintain contact with the mother?
Text messages, phone calls, emails, or in person.
And are the contents of these communications typically included in your court reports?
Yeah, they should be.
And you testified that there were some art meetings scheduled for the mother. Would you receive updates from mother's providers during these art meetings?
Yes.
Have you disclosed any reports on mother's progress from these providers?
I don't remember if I did or did not.
Since you've been the case manager, the mother completed parenting and healthy relationships classes.
I believe so.
The department had also requested that mother engage in drug testing.
Yes.
Do you agree that since at least July of 2021, mother has been testing at AberHealth?
You say July of 2020?
2021.
Oh, I don't remember if it was AberHealth, sorry.
In August of 2022, did the mother provide a hair follicle test?
Yes, through a third party.
And that was negative for all substances, if you can recall?
Yes, I believe so.
Throughout this case, has the mother demonstrated periods of sobriety?
I can't tell since she hasn't drug tested.
During your time as a case manager, what services has the mother engaged in?
Not so much. Like I said, it was very inconsistent with taros and with individual therapies. So I don't think she'd ever completed any the program, especially with taros or family drug court.
And I think you had said that part of her case plan was having stable housing,
Yes.
and mother has that.
Yes.
Part of the case plan is having stable employment.
Yes.
Does mother have that?
Yes.
You had requested that mother engage in parenting classes,
Yes.
and she completed that.
I don't remember.
If she did, would it be included in your court report?
Yes.
And you requested that mother engage in healthy relationships,
Yes.
and she completed that.
I don't remember.
But that would be included in your court report if she did.
Yes.
So is the only other service that the department is requesting of mother is engaging in drug testing, substance abuse testing, and individual therapy?
Yes.
What action have you taken to re-engage the mother in her services?
Spoke to her as much as I could, ask her what the barriers was when it comes to drug testing or participating in services. And if she asks for re-engagement in terrorists, I do send a referral.
Did the mother ever say what, if she had any barriers?
She wasn't very open about what the barriers are. She just said that she'll do better or she'll try, but never really had any explanation as to what the barriers are.
And I believe you testified that mother is consistent in her visitation with Desi.
Yes.
And do those visits go well?
I believe so, yes.
Do you believe that Desi has a strong bond with her mother?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Mr. Gettler.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I believe you indicated that the services that DCS wants her to participate in, according to you, were substance abuse services, correct?
Yes.
Stable housing,
Yes.
stable employment.
Yes.
You said domestic violence classes,
I believe so.
healthy relationships,
Yes.
and parenting classes.
Yes.
Is there any other services that DCS wanted her to do?
No.
Right. Is the mother doing individual therapy?
she is right now.
When you had the case, was the mother, did she at any point participate in individual therapy?
She did,
Right, and
yes.
and so the mother did that voluntarily then?
Yes,
That was not part of her case.
yes it was,
So that is part of her case plan, is individual therapy?
yes.
So that's something you're adding now?
Sorry, I didn't,
Okay. So individual therapy is part of the case plan and she's participated in it when you've had the case.
yes, she did.
And who does she do individual therapy through?
I believe it was Easter Seals.
Was she engaged with Easter Seals doing therapy before you took over this case?
I don't remember.
And did my client sign a release information from Easter Seals?
I believe so.
Right. Have you disclosed any records for Easter Seals?
I don't think so.
Did you request any records from Easter Seals?
I did.
So you have nothing to refute what my client says that what she participated in at Easter Seals?
Just during what was said on CFTs and ARTs.
You have no written documentation?
Should be on the CFTs.
So you have, let me clarify my question. You have no written documentation of my client's compliance at Easter Seals?
From the therapist? No.
From anybody in Easter Seals?
Just verbal during CFTs.
Do you know what my client was addressing with her therapist during her therapy sessions?
I don't remember.
Do you know who her therapist is?
Patricia?
Do you have a last name?
Porras?
You see Torres?
Porras.
Torres?
I'm sorry, could you please spell that for the record if you know?
Porras.
Thank you.
Do you know if that was always been her individual therapist?
During my time, yes.
Okay. And I think I want to get some clarification. You said you completed your parenting classes, is that correct?
I believe so.
And do you understand she completed healthy relationships as well?
I believe so.
Are you certain about it, or do you need something to refresh your recollection of whether she completed it or not?
If I could, I don't know if it's. I do.
I'm looking for the August 15, 2022 report. And it's exhibit 8.
Yes, I believe
I may have
the
printed
signer
this
has the
wrong.
exhibit.
That's exhibit 8. I think if you split to page 11. Wait, maybe. Let me look real quick. Sorry. If you can look at page 11, right down here where it says healthy relationships and parenting classes, and what does that say?
So she completed the classes.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Sorry, did she complete those classes?
Yes.
I guess you can look there. During the time that you had the case, was my client, did she go through any rehab facilities?
Not during my time.
When you took over this case, did you review the record from the previous case manager, Ms. Marcello?
Yes.
Do you remember whether she engaged in any type of rehab prior to your involvement?
I believe she did.
Do you know did you ever talk to my client about what services she participated in when she was in those rehabs?
No, I didn't.
Do you know if whether she successfully completed those rehabs?
I don't
And did I hear you correctly that it's DCS's policy to do a case plan every 6 months?
Yes, that's,
What do you mean by that? Like you do a written case plan or you just review the case plan?
if there are any changes, as to services for adding things, then yes.
And during the course of when you had this case, was there any changes to the case plan?
No, there wasn't.
You indicated prior to you leaving DCS that you did a virtual visit of the mother's current residence, is that correct?
Yes.
Was that in February of this year, 2023?
I don't recall, but
Right.
it's pretty.
Do you think it was in 2023?
Yes.
Either January, February?
Yes.
Okay. Any issues with the mother's residence?
No.
Was there any discussion about moving the visits with Desi into the mother's home?
Yes, I approved the visit at the home.
So today visits can occur in the mother's home?
Yes.
Did the mother's visits ever occur in her home prior to you leaving?
I believe there was one.
So Easter Seals Lake, do they provide any services that have to deal with like substance abuse?
I don't think so.
Right. But can a person address substance abuse with the individual therapist?
If it's in the scope of the therapist, then yes.
In your years of experience as a case manager, have you seen parents engage with their therapist regarding substance abuse?
No.
You've never seen that?
No.
But do you agree that a parent can engage with their therapist and discuss about substance abuse?
Yes.
Do you know if the mother is taking any medication?
Not that I know of.
Do you know if she's required to take any type of, let me clarify my question. Do you know if the mother's taking any psychiatric medication?
Not that I know of.
Do you know if she's required to take any type of psychiatric medication?
Not that I know of.
And for clarification, the mother's not required to do a psychological evaluation?
No.
I think you indicated before that the mother is quite consistent in her visits. Does DCS have any concern at any point during the whole course of this dependency in regards to the mother's visits with Desi?
No.
Right, but you acknowledge though there's been some visits that were canceled because of a lapse referral in the early of 2022. Do you remember that?
I believe there was, but it was corrected.
But that wasn't the client's fault, is that correct?
No.
That was a mistake on part of DCS?
Yes.
So you said that there's been a family that has been identified as a potential adoptive placement, isn't that correct?
Yes.
They have not been approved yet to be able to adopt.
Not that I know of.
And at the ICPC process, it sounds like it's been submitted,
Yes.
but the ICPC hasn't been approved yet.
I believe it has. I just don't know what the process is now.
Has there been any disclosure of an ICPC being approved to the parties?
No.
Would you agree that if the ICPC was not approved, that it would be likely that DCS would not approve them as an adoptive placement?
That would be something that would need to be staffed.
Would you agree failing an ICPC is bad?
Yes.
it's not beneficial to try to get adoptive placement, correct?
I believe so.
So we don't know yet whether these individuals are able to adopt, isn't that correct?
No, we don't know.
We're just shooting in the dark.
If that's what you wanna call it, yes.
I think you said this case has been open.
Advantage of that? What are the losses that you have with doing that?
With doing the whole case or the communication or like at that moment?
Yeah, the communication. We're talking about when you feel like you have to step back and in remind you want to prove to them and validate. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like I get what you're saying, but like proving and validating when I've done that over and over and over, and it's kind little nice little Malibu. Well, she's, you know what I mean? Like everybody thinks I'm not going to stand up for myself, but I don't want to do it wrong. But like I don't need to validate to anybody but like the person that's going to make the choice, and that's the judge. So like everybody else, like if they're going to continue not seeing me or ignoring me, like it took so long to get the freaking parenting thing and communicate. I completed parenting. Eventually you realize it's not me that's the issue of the communication like barrier. It's that they don't want to, you know, so like how do you get past that? Does that make sense? Because no matter how I say it or what I do, it doesn't change it.
Okay, so this right there, right where you said is, you know, typically what you say or what you do, we have been judged. And they're not moving forward with anything or anything. It's just, you feel like there is a judgment. Whatever I do or don't do, they have a picture of me right now.
What is your opinion on that? Like, you know that's how it feels, but like, what do you guys, like, from your position, like, I'm not going to ask you to ever say it, am I validated? Am I crazy? Am I stupid? Or am I just making it up? I don't know.
Well, I do want to say, you know, I do want to validate the fact that the first agent there, the repeating, the work that you have done has been completed, right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of where your case lies with, Andy and I both have said there's something that's a barrier with this case.
There's a barrier with this case, is what you said?
Well, I don't use the word barrier. There's something with this case, and that's why I brought it today, is you feel like they have a picture of you, and they're not moving from that picture.
Do you think it's more so like the DCS, or just like the whole thing?
Okay, what I am saying is, you know, how can I put it,
Desi? Listen, Desi. Hey, look. Desi, I want you to tell me what your brother did to you. What was he saying?
And he pushed me off the thing, and then he said, "Can you help me?" And then he pushed me to the floor like that, and I fall right there, and it hurt. And I cried. My brother did it 3 times.
And no one did anything?
No, Trevor just beat me.
No, but Aaron or Drew didn't stop it, and they weren't. Where was
No,
Aaron?
they didn't. What? And then I fall and hurt my knee.
Did Aaron or Drew stop it ever?
No, they didn't.
So has it been Trevor that's been hurting you?
But he hurt my good. And so they said I want to get on there, and I said wait. And then I tried to get on there. And then it says me birthday.
Wait, what?
My birthday. I love my princess. He hates my Wait, can I watch a show now? And go in there.
You wanna go sit on the table or you go inside? Okay, let me go grab the pizza and then yes, you can have your show.
Well, but can you turn on the show one clip?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it on right now. You got it. Is there chairs there, okay? Let me get it. It's okay.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference ID followed by pound.
Gary, what is your relationship or your role to the case?
Oh, I'm a real quicker for developers.
Okay. So you're like a family friend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't find a meeting with that number. Try entering your conference ID again and then press pound.
Hi, good morning. Who just joined the line?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
No.
Please enter a conference ID.
At the next light, turn right.
Check the number and dial again.
Stop.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference ID followed by pound. To continue in English, press 1.
Ooh, she needs to stop calling me.
Sorry.
God damn it. I just fucking want to do this, dude. Oh my god.
Send a voicemail.
Stop, Larry. No. I want to get this in. Dial it in so she keeps
It's not
calling.
gonna stop. It's supposed to send your answer.
Baby.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center.
How the fuck is that
I told
calling?
you.
Sorry, I can't find a meeting with that number. Try entering your conference ID again and then press pound.
991 2701.
Sorry, I can't find a meeting with that number. Try entering your conference ID again
91
and then
270386.
if you're the meeting organizer, press star now. You are now joining the meeting. Please wait for the leader to admit you to the meeting. Thank you for your patience.
Okay. Ow. Mute your phone, dude. Come on now. Hey, guys, if you guys can mute yourself on your line, that would be cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Larry Gasco again. My phone got disconnected.